this is Jen from Windrose Fiber Studio. Today, let's crochet air plant pots. Let's have a look at our materials. We're using a medium weight yarn. I've selected Wool Ease by Lion Brand in the color Arrowwood. You also need an accent color. Because you only need a small amount, this is a great project to de-stash with. I happen to have this Haitian Cotton by Yarnia, which I think looks really pretty with the Wool Ease, although it's a lot thinner than the Wool Ease. So I'm actually going to be carrying 3 strands of this cotton and using this as my accent color. I also have a pair of scissors, a yarn needle. I'll be using 2 stitch markers for the sake of this tutorial, and I have a 5mm crochet hook. You'll also need a few pebbles to weigh down the bottom of your air plant pot. Oh, and here's that 2nd stitch marker. There are 3 pots in this collection, and we'll begin with the tall pot. Our project begins with a magic ring, working with the main color of your pot. If you're uncomfortable making a magic ring, you can begin by chaining 2 and then working your 8 single crochets of round 1 into the 2nd chain from your hook. Please be sure that when you're weaving in your beginning tail, you close any opening created by this first round. For everyone using a magic ring, round 1, you'll work 8 single crochets into the magic ring. Then you'll slip stitch to the first single crochet and chain 1. You will not be turning at the end of rounds now and throughout the entire pattern. I will be marking the first and last stitch of each round. So while I've been chatting, I've come to the end of round 1. You can see me closing my ring. I'm marking the last stitch with my pink stitch marker. My first stitch is marked by my yellow stitch marker. And that makes it very easy for me to find where to place my hook, to slip stitch to that first stitch and chain 1. We're ready to move on to round 2. The first stitch of each round is placed in the same stitch as the slip stitch. Round 2 has a repeating pattern. You work a single crochet increase and then a single crochet. You repeat this pattern all the way around. At the end of round 2, you will have 12 stitches, and then you will join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet and chain 1. Remember that a single crochet increase simply means to place 2 single crochets in that stitch. I am speeding time up, and here we are at the end of round 2. I work that last stitch and then replace my last stitch marker, and you can see we're skipping over that slip stitch and chain 1, and then we're working a slip stitch into the first stitch of this round and chaining 1, and now we're ready to go ahead to round 3. Round 3, our repeating pattern is to work a single crochet increase all the way around. That means to place 2 single crochets in each stitch around. This round will have a total of 24 stitches, and then you'll join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet and chain 1. The most important pattern notes that I'll just reiterate one last time is that the first stitch of each round will be worked into the same stitch as the slip stitch, and at the end of each round, please be careful not to work into the slip stitch or the chain 1 from the previous round. I will definitely be time traveling through these rounds, so please hit pause when you need to. At the end of round 3, I like to take just a moment to weave in my beginning tail. Be sure to do this on the wrong side of your work. The right side of your work is the side that is facing as you crochet. I'm completing my round 3 by joining with a slip stitch to the first single crochet and then chaining 1. And now we're ready for round 4. I'll work a single crochet into that same stitch and into each stitch around. Round 4 has 24 stitches in all and finishes by joining with a slip stitch to the first single crochet and chaining 1. While I have a second, I also wanted to share that the reason that we're not working in a continuous round, but rather joining the beginning and ending of each round, is so that when we introduce our accent color, that color will start and finish on the same row and look very connected. Here we are at round 5. The repeating pattern for this round is to work a single crochet increase and then 3 single crochets. Continue this pattern all the way around. Round 5 will have 30 stitches in all. At the end of the round, you'll join with the slip stitch to the first single crochet, only this time we'll be changing to our accent color, and then we'll chain 1. Let's take a close look at our first color change. I've just finished my last stitch. Now I'll take off my beginning stitch marker, insert my hook into that first stitch, and then I'll yarn over with the new color, with our accent color. Finish that slip stitch, and then I'll chain 1. Notice that I haven't cut the main color. We'll be reintroducing that at the end of this round. Round 6 is worked with our accent color. You work a single crochet in each stitch around. This round has a total of 30 stitches, and then you'll join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet, changing back to your main color, and then chain 1. Here we are at the end of round 6, and it's time to change back to our main color. So you insert your hook back into the first single crochet, drop the accent color, yarn over with your main color, and then pull that through the stitch and the loop on your hook and chain 1. I am all about the yarn management, so you can see I'm cutting the accent color, and then I'm going to go ahead and tie these two ends with a square knot. That's right over left and left over right. Now you can cut these. I'll probably weave in these loose ends later because I just can't not weave in my loose ends. But this knot will be on the inside of your air plant pot and no one will ever see it and I'll never tell. Okay, back to work. We're on round 7, working with our main color. Round 7, we repeat the pattern, single crochet decrease, then 3 single crochets. To work a single crochet decrease, you'll insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, then insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. So the repeating pattern is single crochet decrease and then 3 single crochets. You repeat this all the way around. At the end of round 7, you'll have 24 stitches. And then of course you'll join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet and chain 1. Now that we're a few rounds in, we can start shaping the bottom of our pot into a nice little bowl. Remember, the right side of your pot is facing as you crochet. I'm going to finish up round 7 with my slip stitch and chain 1. And then we're on to round 8. Round 8, you just simply single crochet around. This round has 24 stitches. At the end, you'll join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet and chain 1. Here we are on round 9. Round 9, you'll be working single crochet decrease all the way around. This reduces our stitch count to just 12. You'll notice that I'm making sure I pull up any slack on the yarn. It starts to get a little challenging as the work narrows, so just keep that in mind. Here we are at the end of this round. And of course, we're going to finish off with our slip stitch to the first single crochet and chain 1. Things are going to become even more narrow as we begin round 10. Round 10, you'll work a single crochet decrease and then a single crochet. You'll repeat this pattern all the way around. At the end of round 10, you'll have 8 stitches. It is definitely starting to feel small, but never fear. We're going to start increasing and widening that opening again. Here we are at our last stitch. And now we'll slip stitch to the first one and chain 1. For round 11, you'll work a single crochet increase and then a single crochet. You'll repeat this pattern around for a total of 12 stitches in round 11. Once again, join with a slip stitch to your first single crochet and chain 1. I promise you 8 stitches around is as narrow as this opening gets. You can see how I'm sort of working it around as I go and flattening out a side to make it easy for me to work my crochet hook into the fabric. And then I rotate it and create another flat side and kind of inch my way around the opening. I didn't speed up this round because I wanted you to see how I manage working with such a small opening. But here we are at the end of round 11 and on to round 12. For round 12, you'll work a single crochet increase all the way around. This will get our stitch count up to 24. And it's time to change back to our accent colors. So at the end of this round, you'll join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet, changing back to your accent color, and then chain 1. In round 13, we're working with our accent color. You'll single crochet in each stitch around for a total of 24 stitches. Then you'll join with a slip stitch to your first single crochet, changing back to your main color, then chain 1. Well, we're over halfway there, and I have a little confession. I decided to go ahead and just cut these loose ends of the accent yarn instead of weaving them in, which is so out of character for me. But see, I'm putting in an extra knot because I almost can't deal. But there we go. Okay, and so now we're moving on to round 14, back with our main color. In this round, you'll work single crochet decreases all the way around. You'll have 12 stitches at the end of round 14, and then you'll join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet and chain 1. In round 15, we're shrinking back down to 8 stitches. In this round, you'll work a single crochet decrease and then a single crochet. Repeat this pattern all the way around, and then, as always, join with a slip stitch to your first single crochet and chain 1. Now with round 16, you'll work a single crochet increase and then a single crochet. Repeat this around, and this round will have 12 stitches. Join with a slip stitch to your first single crochet and chain 1. Here we are at round 17. In this round, you'll work a single crochet increase, then a single crochet. Repeat this around for a total of 18 stitches, and then we'll join with a slip stitch to our first single crochet, changing to our accent color one last time, and then chain 1. We have made it to round 18, our very last round. Using your accent color, single crochet around for a total of 18 stitches. After your last stitch, we will not be slip stitching to the first single crochet. We are going to do an invisible finish off. I like to abbreviate this with infino. In my mind, it is the beginning of a Harry Potter spell. I can picture him pointing his wand and saying infino something. So infino is how I remember invisible finish offs. So let me show you how we're going to work that today. To make an invisible finish off, you'll cut your working yarn and then just pull on that last loop on your hook, or even just pull your hook to draw that yarn through, and then you're going to thread this yarn onto a yarn needle. Then pass your needle under the first stitch, and then you're going to take that needle and go back and pass it through the last single crochet you did in this row. You're going to work through the top of this stitch, working straight down towards the back or wrong side of your work. When you draw the yarn close, it creates the look of a stitch. And now there's nothing left to do but to weave in all of your remaining loose ends. And then we can have a look at our finished pot. At first, your pot might be looking a little bit crumpled, so we'll take a moment and we'll shape the pot. You'll watch as I go around the accent rows, giving it a little tug, turning those into nice rounds. I start at the bottom and work my way to the top until I just straight up squish it flat. And now you can see as I pull it open again, the shape is there. This pot was very much inspired by a paper lantern, and so I hope you can pick up on those vibes. Now I'm going to put a few pebbles in the bottom. This helps to stabilize it once you put in your air plant. It also helps to maintain the shape of the pot. Here's our tall pot with a little air plant, but before we call ourselves done today, let's make a medium version. To begin the medium version, you're going to work the tall pot pattern from round 1 through round 11. I've already done that, and I'm using the exact same yarn for this one. And now I'm just doing that slip stitch and chain 1 at the end of round 11, and we're going to pick back up with round 12. For round 12, you'll work a single crochet increase, and then a single crochet. You'll repeat this pattern all the way around for a total of 18 stitches. And then you're going to join with, you guessed it, a slip stitch to the first single crochet, and then you're also going to be changing to your accent color, and then chain 1. We're going to create just one more round for the medium-sized pot. So for round 13, with the accent color, single crochet around. You'll have a total of 18 stitches once again. And then we'll finish this one off with an invisible finish off, an infino, just like we did our tall pot. I am speeding things up here because we have already done this once before, but please remember you can always go into settings and slow down the playback speed. I will also be putting timestamps in the description box below so you can easily navigate throughout this video. And here's our medium pot. You can see I'm squishing this one too, just like I did the first one. It's actually pretty fun to get to play with your crochet. Then I'll pop this one up. Notice that the medium-sized pot has 2 rounds of the accent color and the tall pot has 3. I'm going to grab my basket of pebbles. I'm definitely at an unfair advantage because I live in the desert where we landscape with little rocks. If you're wondering where I got the tiny crochet basket, I will put a link for that tutorial below as well. Now we have a tall pot and a medium pot, and it's time to make a small pot. To create our small pot, we're going to repeat the tall pot pattern once again, working rounds 1 through 9. I'm going to finish off round 9 here by slip stitching to my first single crochet and chaining 1. And then for round 10, you'll single crochet around. This round has a total of 12 stitches. We'll also be finishing the small pot with an invisible finish off. It's a little bit easier to see the infino while I'm working with this solid color, so I've gone ahead and shown that here. I know it was a little hard to see with the accent color because that is a boucle. After the last stitch, I cut my working yarn, and instead of slip stitching to the first stitch, I just pull the hook and pull that working yarn right through and then thread it on to my yarn needle. I pass the yarn needle through the first single crochet, and then I work from top to bottom through the last single crochet. You can see I'm going between the front and back loops of that stitch. And then when you pull the yarn close, the invisible finish off creates the look of a natural stitch. There's our first stitch, our infino, and our last stitch. It's time to weave in our loose ends one last time. It's time to squish and shape our small pot. This one has just one accent stripe. This pot is such a cute little shape, and though this opening looks small, a lot of air plants are quite tiny, and so you'd be amazed how many little air plants will fit into this little pot. I'm actually going to include a link below for one of my favorite air plant shops on Amazon. So here's our tall, medium, and small air plant pots. I do think they're sort of fun as a set, all worked up in the same colorway, but of course this is a great project for playing around with color and texture. This pattern is available for purchase in my Etsy shop. If you would like a printable or downloadable PDF, I will put a link for that in the description below. I also have a couple more air plant pot designs, so if you would like me to create tutorials for those, please let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe. I post new patterns and tutorials every Tuesday, and I'm really looking forward to sharing more of my designs with you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.